The morning after my birthday, my phone rang. My son's voice sounded nervous before he even said hello. "Dad, did you try the bottle I sent you?" I smiled and answered, "No. I gave it to my lawyer yesterday. He seemed to enjoy it." There was complete silence. Then he shouted, "Dad, what did you do?" At that moment, I realized the birthday gift sitting on my kitchen counter had never been about celebrating me. Whatever my son expected to happen had just gone terribly wrong. My name is Robert Harrison. Until that birthday, I believed every parent deserved to give their children the benefit of the doubt. Even after many disappointments, I always found excuses for my son, Ethan. Maybe he was under pressure. Maybe work had changed him. Maybe I was expecting too much. Those were the stories I kept telling myself every time he forgot to call, canceled another visit, or treated me like an obligation instead of his father. If you enjoy emotional family stories filled with unforgettable twists and meaningful life lessons, don't forget to subscribe to Dream Life Stories. Your support truly means more than you know. That birthday started like every other one since my wife, Margaret, passed away. The house felt painfully quiet. I made myself a simple breakfast, looked at an old photograph of Margaret smiling beside our birthday cake from years ago, and wondered how life had become so empty. Around noon, a delivery driver knocked on my front door with a neatly wrapped gift box. The sender's name immediately caught my attention. Ethan. I honestly couldn't remember the last time my son had sent me a birthday present. For a brief moment, I felt hopeful. Maybe things were finally getting better. Inside the box was an expensive bottle of imported vodka with a handwritten card. "Happy birthday, Dad. Enjoy it. You deserve something special." I stared at those words for a long time. Ethan knew I hardly drank anymore. In fact, after Margaret passed away, I had almost stopped completely. Still, I smiled. Maybe the gift wasn't really about the drink. Maybe it was his way of reaching out after years of distance. That afternoon, I had a scheduled meeting with my longtime attorney, Michael Carter, to update my estate documents. Since the bottle was sitting unopened on my kitchen counter, I decided to take it with me as a simple thank you gift. When Michael laughed and accepted it, I thought nothing of it. I had absolutely no idea that one small decision was about to reveal a truth my own son never wanted me to discover. An unexpected phone call raised every alarm. Michael had been more than my attorney for nearly 30 years. After my wife Margaret passed away, he became one of the few people who still checked on me simply because he cared. We finished reviewing my estate papers, shared old memories, and laughed more than we had in months. As I stood up to leave, I handed him the wrapped bottle. "Happy birthday to me," I joked. "But I think you'll enjoy this more than I will." He smiled. "You've never shown up empty-handed, Robert." Neither of us gave the bottle another thought. The next morning, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Ethan. That alone surprised me. My son rarely called unless he needed something. His voice sounded tense. "Dad, did you open the bottle?" "No," I answered honestly. "I gave it to Michael yesterday." Everything became silent. Not for 1 second, not for 2. It felt like an entire minute before he finally spoke. "You gave it to your lawyer?" "Yes." Then his voice exploded. "Dad, what did you do?" The call ended before I could ask another question. I sat there staring at my phone, completely confused. What kind of reaction was that? If it had simply been an expensive birthday gift, why would he care who drank it? That question stayed in my mind the entire morning. Around lunchtime, Michael called. His voice was calm, but something felt different. "Robert, can you come by my office? Is everything all right? I'd rather talk face to face." My stomach tightened. When I arrived, the bottle was sitting unopened on his desk. "I was about to take this home," Michael said. But something bothered me. He slowly slid the bottle toward me. "The tax seal looks like it was removed and carefully put back." I frowned. "What does that mean?" It could mean absolutely nothing. He paused. Or it could mean someone opened it before giving it to you. Neither of us touched the bottle. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Ethan's voice again. Dad, what did you do? It wasn't the voice of a son worried about an expensive gift. It sounded like someone whose plan had suddenly fallen apart. The hidden truth inside the bottle. The next afternoon, Michael called me back to his office. When I walked in, he wasn't alone. A forensic chemist he trusted personally was standing beside the desk with a sealed evidence bag. My heart began pounding before either of them spoke. Michael looked directly at me. Robert, the bottle wasn't contaminated with poison. I let out a long breath, but he wasn't finished. It contained a powerful sedative. My stomach dropped. A sedative? The chemist nodded. Enough to make someone extremely sleepy after only a few drinks. Combined with alcohol, it could leave an older person completely unconscious. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My hands started shaking. Someone had opened that bottle. Someone had carefully resealed it. Then someone had mailed it to me as a birthday present. Michael leaned forward. I'm not accusing anyone yet, but this needs to be taken very seriously. I stared at the bottle without blinking. The room suddenly felt much colder. Then another memory came rushing back. Just 3 weeks earlier, Ethan had asked unusual questions about my estate. He wanted to know whether I had changed my will after Margaret passed away. He had even joked, "You never know how much time any of us has left." At the time, I laughed. Now those words echoed inside my mind very differently. I felt sick. Could I really believe my own son wanted to hurt me? Every part of me wanted the answer to be no. I kept searching for another explanation. Maybe someone had switched the bottle. Maybe Ethan had no idea. Maybe there was still a misunderstanding waiting to be uncovered. But before I could convince myself of any of those possibilities, Michael quietly slid another document across the desk. It showed something that completely changed the direction of the story. The bottle had not been purchased from a regular store. It had been shipped directly from a private online seller using Ethan's own account. I stared at the receipt for what felt like forever. Ethan's account had been used to order the bottle. But even that wasn't solid proof he knew everything about it. My heart still refused to believe my own son would intentionally try to hurt me. I had spent his entire childhood teaching him the difference between right and wrong. I couldn't let one document erase every happy memory we had built together. Michael looked at me and quietly said, "Before you make any decisions, talk to him. Give him one chance to tell the truth." A painful confession opened the door to forgiveness. That evening, I asked Ethan to meet me at my house. He walked in looking nervous. The moment he saw the unopened bottle sitting on the table beside the laboratory report, the color disappeared from his face. He didn't ask a single question. Instead, he sat down and buried his face in his hands. "I was stupid," he whispered. He admitted he had ordered the bottle from an online seller recommended by someone he knew. The seller promised a rare imported brand at a huge discount. Ethan insisted he never imagined the bottle had been tampered with. The moment I told him I had given it away, he panicked because he suddenly remembered reading online that the seller had been investigated for altering expensive bottles. He became terrified that something terrible might happen to whoever drank it. "Why didn't you tell me immediately?" I asked. He lowered his head. "Because I was ashamed. I wanted to surprise you with something expensive. Instead, I bought it from the wrong person because I wanted to save money." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I realized something important. His biggest mistake wasn't buying the bottle. His biggest mistake was choosing fear instead of honesty. I stood up, walked over to him, and gently placed my hand on his shoulder. "Son, trust is much easier to lose than it is to rebuild. If you had called me the moment you became suspicious, none of this would have turned into something so frightening." Tears filled his eyes. "I'm sorry, Dad." I believed him. That didn't erase the pain, but it gave us a chance to begin again. Life has taught me that one bad decision can change everything. But one honest confession can also change everything again. If this story meant something to you, leave a comment and tell me what you would have done if you were in my place. Share this story with someone who believes honesty should always come before pride. And if you enjoy emotional family stories with meaningful lessons, don't forget to subscribe to Dream Life Stories. Sometimes the strongest families aren't the ones without mistakes. They're the ones who are brave enough to face the truth together.